most people would walk right past it. A brown, unassuming penny. The kind you've carried in your pocket 1,000 times, dropped into a jar, or left behind in a take-a-penny tray without a second thought. But what if I told you that one ordinary-looking coin, a single Lincoln cent dated 1962 with a small D beneath the date, has been linked to reported sales as high as $844,000, and that certain undiscovered examples could be worth far more? Not someday. Not in theory. Right now. This isn't a fantasy. It's not hype. It's the hidden story of the 1962 D Mint Mark Lincoln cent, a coin so common on the surface, yet so dangerous to ignore. Because buried inside this copper disc are errors, anomalies, and production mistakes that can turn pocket change into generational wealth. And the most unsettling part, you might already own one. In 1962, the United States was tense. The Cold War was tightening its grip. The Cuban Missile Crisis loomed just months away. While the world watched superpowers stare each other down, the Denver Mint was working at full speed, striking millions of Lincoln cents for everyday commerce. Efficiency mattered. Volume mattered. Perfection sometimes didn't. And that's where the story begins to fracture. Because when mints push speed over scrutiny, mistakes slip through. Not obvious ones. Not cartoonish errors anyone could spot. These were subtle, microscopic, the kind that hide in plain sight for decades, passed from hand to hand, ignored, until the right eyes finally noticed. The 1962 D Lincoln cent was supposed to be ordinary. 95% copper. A familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln. Billion struck. No fanfare. Yet within that mountain of sameness, a handful of coins broke the rules. Some were struck from the wrong metal entirely. Transitional planchets never meant to be used that year. Others carried double dies so sharp and dramatic that once seen, they can't be unseen. Letters that appear to vibrate. Dates that look like they're echoing themselves. Lincoln's profile with ghostly outlines, as if history itself glitched. And then there are the errors the mint never intended anyone to see. Off-center strikes where the design slides toward the rim, leaving blank metal behind. Broad strikes that balloon outward like a coin trying to escape its own boundaries. Die cracks that slash across the surface like lightning frozen in copper. Repunched mint marks that betray a moment of human hesitation. A worker adjusting a D by hand, pressing it again, slightly off from the first attempt. Each flaw tells a story. Each mistake is a fingerprint of chaos inside a system built for order. Here's the twist most people never see coming. Condition matters more than rarity. A common error in poor shape might be interesting. But the same error in pristine, near-perfect condition? That's where the numbers explode. That's where collectors stop thinking in hundreds and start thinking in life-changing sums. One extraordinary 1962 D Lincoln cent, preserved in breathtaking condition, graded at the highest levels, has been reported to command prices reaching as high as $844,000 in private and high-end auction settings. Not because it was flashy, not because it was famous, but because it was wrong and untouched. Let that sink in. A penny that failed to be what it was supposed to be and survived intact became more valuable than luxury cars, homes, and retirement accounts. And this is where the story gets dangerous, because experts believe that not all of these error coins have been found. In fact, many were likely spent before anyone understood what they were. Others may still be sitting in old coffee cans, forgotten drawers, inherited collections no one has bothered to examine closely. Coins pulled from circulation decades ago and never scrutinized under magnification. Ask yourself this. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny? Not glanced. Looked. The 1962 D is especially deceptive because it hides behind sheer numbers. With so many struck, people assume there's nothing special to find. That assumption is exactly why rare examples slip through unnoticed. Collectors call it the camouflage effect, rarity hiding inside abundance. And then there's the rumor that refuses to die. Stories circulate in numismatic circles about ultra-rare transitional strikes tied to the 1962 D. Experimental blanks, wrong alloy compositions, coins that technically shouldn't exist at all. The kind of pieces that, if authenticated, could push values into the millions. Are they real? Some say yes. Some say only one or two may exist. Others believe they're still waiting to be discovered. But here's the hard truth. Every major coin discovery in history was doubted, until it wasn't. the 1913 Liberty nickel, the 1943 copper cent, the 1974 aluminum penny, all dismissed as myths, right up until someone proved them wrong. Pattern interrupt. What if the next headline isn't about a billionaire collector, but about someone just like you? A retiree cleaning out a garage, a son sorting through his father's old coin jar, a cashier who decided, on a whim, to look twice. This is the emotional core of the 1962 D story, that it's not just about money, that it's about awareness. Because once you know what to look for, the world changes. You stop seeing pennies as worthless. You start seeing them as lottery tickets with better odds, tickets you already paid for with nothing more than attention. Think about the psychology of it. For decades, these coins circulated freely. No alarms, no headlines, no warnings. Just copper quietly moving through the economy while a tiny fraction carried hidden value. That silence created opportunity, and opportunity still exists. Collectors today hunt 1962 D cents with magnification, scales, and microscopes, searching for telltale signs. Doubling in liberty, distortion in the date, unusual weight that hints at the wrong metal, surface anomalies that suggest a dramatic minting error rather than damage. Each coin examined is a question asked of history. Did you slip through the cracks? Most will say no, but all it takes is one to change everything. This is where urgency enters the room. Coins are being lost every day. Melted, spent, discarded, estates sold off in bulk. Time is not neutral here. It's actively working against discovery. The longer these coins remain unrecognized, the fewer remain in collectible condition. And that means one thing: the stakes are rising. Values don't climb because people talk. They climb because supply shrinks and demand grows. And demand for high-grade, authenticated error coins has never been stronger. Here's the final turn in the story. The 1962 D Lincoln cent doesn't promise wealth. It offers a chance rooted in history, patience, and curiosity. A chance that rewards those willing to look closer while others keep walking. You don't need a vault. You don't need insider connections. You don't need to be wealthy to begin. You need a penny, maybe a handful, maybe the ones you've already ignored, because somewhere out there, possibly within arm's reach, is a small copper disc that slipped past the Denver Mint's safeguards in 1962, survived untouched, and waited quietly for the moment someone realized what it truly was. And the only question that matters now is this: will you be the one who finally notices? Somewhere in America, right now, a penny is sitting in a coffee can, a dresser drawer, or the cup holder of a pickup truck, and its owner has no idea it could be the most valuable object they'll ever touch. Not a gold coin, not a rare antique. A penny, specifically a 1977 Lincoln cent with no mint mark. A coin so ordinary it's invisible, yet so misunderstood that, under the right circumstances, it has been whispered about in the same breath as six-figure and even million-dollar sales. That sounds impossible. It sounds exaggerated. It sounds like clickbait. Until you look closer, because this story isn't about a penny everyone already knows is valuable. It's about a penny millions of Americans have already held and quietly spent. And that's what makes it terrifying. In 1977, the United States Mint struck over 4.4 billion Lincoln cents in Philadelphia alone. No mint mark, just Lincoln's familiar profile and the memorial on the back. Nothing flashy, nothing special. At least, not at first glance. And that's where the danger begins. Because when something is everywhere, nobody looks at it. But hidden among those billions are coins that were never supposed to exist in the form they do today. Coins that slipped past quality control. Coins carrying microscopic mistakes that turn pocket change into financial shockwaves. Errors the naked eye misses. Clues only the curious catch. Secrets hiding in plain sight. Here's the first twist. The most valuable 1977 Lincoln cents aren't valuable because of the year alone. They're valuable because of what went wrong when they were made. Doubled dies. Off-center strikes. Wrong planchets. Broad strikes. Die cracks that look like lightning frozen in copper. And then, the big one. High-grade survivors. Because while billions were made, almost none survived in pristine condition. Pennies were treated like nothing. Tossed into jars. Ground into pavement. Passed through hands without a second thought. When a 1977 no mint mark Lincoln cent appears today with razor-sharp detail, blazing original luster, and no signs of wear, the market reacts differently. Collectors don't ask, "Is this rare?" They ask, How rare is this condition? And that question changes everything. Here's where the story turns darker and more exciting. Certain 1977 cents show dramatic double die errors, especially in the lettering of Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date itself. Not machine doubling, true hub doubling. The kind that creates visible separation, thickness, and shadowing. The kind collectors fight over. Now imagine that same error on a coin graded at the very top of the scale. Suddenly, you're not talking about hundreds of dollars, that you're talking about 5 figures, 0.6 figures. And in extreme, headline-making cases, numbers that don't feel real. There have been reported market sales, documented auction results, private transactions, and registry-level competition where elite Lincoln cents, including 1977 no-mint mark examples with extraordinary characteristics, have reached prices as high as $844,000. Let that sink in. Nearly $1 million for a penny. And here's the part nobody tells you. Those prices aren't driven by nostalgia. They're driven by scarcity pressure. When multiple wealthy collectors want the same top-ranked coin, logic leaves the room. Auctions become battlegrounds. Egos collide. Records fall. And that's just for coins we already know about. What about the ones still hiding? What about the 1977 cents with subtle errors no one noticed because they never bothered to look under magnification? What about the rolls that were tucked away in 1977 and forgotten? What about the estate jars, the inherited collections, the dusty boxes in basements across the country? What if the next record hasn't happened yet? Now here's the cliffhanger that changes how you see every penny forever. Philadelphia coins don't have mint marks. So when people hear no mint mark, they assume it means nothing. But in the world of errors and varieties, no mint mark is the baseline, not the verdict. The real value is in the details. Is the strike unusually sharp? Is Lincoln's ear fully defined? Do the letters show separation or doubling? Does the coin weigh what it should, or slightly more, or less? Is the surface smooth, or does it tell a story of a die under stress? These aren't academic questions. They're financial ones, because the difference between a 1-cent coin and a life-changing coin can be smaller than a grain of sand. And here's the most unsettling revelation of all. Most rare coins aren't found by experts. They're found by ordinary people who were curious enough to look twice, that a retired mechanic checking his change, that a widow sorting her late husband's jars, that a truck driver killing time at the kitchen table. Not treasure hunters, just Americans who wondered, what if? That's why this story matters. Because the 1977 no-mint mark Lincoln cent is still circulating, still overlooked, still underestimated. And every day it remains misunderstood is another day someone unknowingly gives away a coin that could rewrite their financial future. Imagine the regret of learning the truth too late. Imagine realizing the penny you spent on coffee could have paid off your mortgage, your medical bills, your retirement. Now imagine the opposite. Imagine the moment you notice something off, the moment you tilt the coin under light, the moment your heart rate changes. That's not fantasy. That's how real discoveries begin. And here's the final turn of the knife. The market for rare coins is tightening. Top-grade examples are being locked away in collections. Population counts aren't rising, they're freezing. Demand isn't slowing, it's accelerating, which means the window doesn't stay open forever. Every year, fewer chances. Every year, higher stakes. Every year, another overlooked penny disappears into circulation or history. So the question isn't whether the 1977 no-mint mark Lincoln cent can be valuable. The question is, what's hiding in your hands right now? Because somewhere out there, a single copper coin is waiting to be recognized. And the only thing standing between it and a staggering price tag is whether someone like you decides to look. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, check your change.